Everyone, it's Justine the Twilight Stamper, and today I am creating a card using the 3 Amigos stamp set from Mama Elephant. Now this card here requires a lot of masking and focuses heavily on the masking technique. So to start off, I'm going to be lining up all the stamps that I'm going to be using on my card. And for time's sake, I'm just going to speed up the video. So I wanted to put all 3 of these little Amigos onto my card, and I wanted them to overlap each other so they were all kind of huddled together. And I decided the best way would be so that the tails were touching. Inking up using Memento ink, I stamped the first Amigo onto the front of the card, the raccoon, and then I stamped it also onto a piece of Simon Says Stamp masking paper. I cut out the little guy from the masking paper and I peeled off the piece that comes off the back, and now it is sticky and I'm able to mask off my image. You have to make sure that your mask is placed in the black lines. Okay, so next up I wanted to place them something like this here, so I picked them both up with my stamp press and inked them up with the Memento so I could get the placement exactly the way I had it on the card. And I stamped both of those images then onto my card front. I also off on the side stamped both of those images onto masking paper and cut those out as well. So now I'm just arranging the sentiments how I want them on my card. I decided to stamp these before going any further, and I put all 3 of them down at the same time, line them up, pick them all up with my stamp press, ink them up with the Memento ink, and stamp them all at once. Saves a lot of time, and I really like that I got my placement exactly right. Next, I'm going to take the stitched hillside borders from Lawn Fawn, and I'm going to be creating a grassy scene. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to lay them down on, I put the masking paper next to my card, so I knew approximately where I wanted to layer the hills on my card, and then I put down both pieces of the hillside die onto the masking paper, space them out a little bit here, and then I just tape them onto my masking paper to keep them in place. With those securely in place, I shoved that through my Cuttlebug there and I die cut my hills. Now I have 3 pieces of the hillside mask that I'm going to keep all 3 pieces. You need all 3 of them to create this card. Okay, now I have all of my die cuts here my pieces that I cut out using the masking paper, so I'm just covering up the images that I had produced earlier onto my card with the masking. So I took the mask that I used before, I'm just going to use that again, and then I put down the 2 masks that I cut off screen there that I mentioned before and threw them on. Next, I'm going to put the part of the hillside border dies that I cut. I'm going to put the sky down, which is the larger piece from the top, as well as the middle piece, and we're going to start inking up this card. The first step is I placed my card on my craft mat, and then I went in with the new Sprout ink, which is a new Memento Dewdrop ink, and I just went in with a blending tool and made the grass, being sure that I really hit that border there. So now you can see that when I remove the masking, I have that border with the hill on it. Now I am going to cover up using that piece we had from before. I'm going to cover up the bottom of my die there that we just did, and I'm going to ink up that second area using the same new Sprout ink from Memento. Now this is going to create a line in between the 2 hills, and it's going to create a grassy sort of hillside scene. Next up, I'm going to keep both of those pieces of masking on my card, and I'm going to add that 3rd piece in the middle here to cover up the grass that we just did with the blending tool, and I'm going to remove this sky, and I'm going to be making the sky now. So now I have the area removed so I can ink up the sky, and remember that my masked areas of my animals are also masked off using masking paper, so I'm going in with some tumbled glass from Tim Holtz as a distress ink, and I'm starting in from the side and making my way around in small circles in order to get a sky that doesn't have any sort of harsh lines in it. So for time's sake, I'm speeding you up, just work those muscles and you'll slowly sort of get a background sky, and you can remove all the masking. And when I remove all the masking, you can see that I have all of my animals still there. Next thing I wanted to do was cut out some clouds, so I took some 80-pound Nina Solar White cardstock and cut out some clouds using the Cute Clouds die cut from Paper Smooches. And I haven't even detached this die from each other yet, but I just decided to cut all 3 of them anyway, so not a big deal. Sent that through my die cutting machine here. I'm just going to cover up my card and so I can fit everything on camera so you can see exactly what I'm doing, and I'm going to cut out those really cute clouds, and you can see they cut out really nicely and had no issues. I didn't have to add a shim or anything like that, which is always nice when using thin lit dies, and I'm able to attach those to my card. Okay, so I'm just going to attach the cards with some of the 3D foam tape to my card, and I'm using the big pieces from the big mama roll from Simon Says Stamp, and I just attached all 3 of those to my card in a random pattern. Now onto the Copic coloring. Alright, now that I'm finished here, I'm going to add my piece of cardstock onto a piece of Simon Says stamp cardstock. I believe this is a piece of leaf green or green leaf, whichever one it's called there. And I have links to all the products used below, and they're also on my blog. So if you click on the product list in the description or onto my blog, you'll get a direct link to the Simon Says stamp store where you can find all of these products, which is also really great. So I used the Tombow mono glue to stick this down onto my card. I figured the card didn't need to be popped up onto 3D or the card base because the clouds already are, and that added a lot of dimension. And I really like the way that that turned out. So thank you so much for watching my card tutorial today. Be sure to subscribe and check out the blog description for any links that you may need.